Hi guys, I'd like to start by saying that this channel has been viewed all over the world, but two countries have especially stood out this month. Indonesia, you're on top. Terima kasih. And France, you're just getting started. Merci d'être là. So this is a PS4 controller. At least that's what the box claimed. You know it's serious hardware when just holding it makes you question your life choices. My first instinct? Straight to the trash. But then I thought, wait, what if I actually use this disaster for something cool? And I asked myself, can I turn this PS4 controller into something for my simulator? I believe so. I cracked it open and here's the inside. As you can see, premium quality, and yes, this video isn't any better. Half the components are unsoldered, the tracks look like they were drawn on a Monday morning, but buried in here, there are some useful parts. The joysticks, the mouse pad button, and the vibration motors. So yeah, the controller is fake, but the parts are real enough for what I want to do. One difference that the originals don't have are these pins that will be very useful to me. This joystick might last a week. Time to perform surgery. I desoldered the joysticks, the touchpad button, and the audio port. I will use the joysticks, the touchpad button, and the vibration movers. The touchpad will be very useful to me. Now I see it was good not to have to solder anymore. Tell me what you think of this way of desoldering components. Here are all the components we will use, but first I want to share something exciting. This project was only possible thanks to my sponsor with JLCPCB. So let's visit the JLCPCB page and get this board ready for production. Just drag and drop and boom! The boards are instantly analyzed and show exactly what you will receive. They offer us total control. Quantity, thickness, color, everything you need to create the perfect board. Look, we can see the result of the board in 3D. What I love is the transparency. You adjust a setting and the price is updated in real time. They have industrial level features, but the interface seems to have been made for manufacturers like us. And if you're new, you can register right here. Takes a few seconds. And here it is, fresh from the factory. Clean lines, crisp screen, and honestly, it turned out better than I imagined. This is the moment I love, seeing a digital idea transformed into real hardware. They are one of the largest PCB manufacturers on the market and are supporting this project so they can offer cleaner and more reliable hardware assemblies. Many thanks to JLCPCB for partnering on this project. If you want custom boards, they are the solution. I send electrons, they send me perfection. Here's the wiring diagram that links the original controller board to my custom board. It looks like a lot of lines, but it's really just buttons, joysticks, button touchpad, and vibration motors all getting new addresses. Think of it like moving them into a nicer neighborhood. Same residence, better layout. All right, starting with the vibration motors. Red wire, black wire, nothing fancy. If only the rest of this build was this straightforward. Next up, the buttons. I'm using white wires for these. Everything looks clean so far, which obviously means I'm about to solder something to the wrong pin. Future me is going to love that. I made a mistake. I'll show you which pin later. Now for the joysticks, green wires, and for the speaker, 2 blue wires. Simple and straightforward. Finally, the gear shift. These wires are yellow because they deserve to stand out. Also, when I need to troubleshoot later, I'll thank myself for not making everything the same color. I learned that the hard way. I can finally start positioning the components. First the joysticks, they fit perfectly, then the buttons. Still without resistors, I'll add them later. Did you already like it? I'm waiting. Let me nail some nuts onto the plastic frame to secure my custom board before they get forgotten. This part always seems much more formal than it should. Time to connect the wires from the original PS4 board to the board I designed. This is where everything meets. Buttons, joysticks, shift sticks, all the signals go through here. It sounds complicated, but it's actually just a matter of connecting each wire to its new location. I'm using 5.1K resistors, although 5.8K is recommended because that's what I had. And honestly, it works. Electronics is 50% knowledge, 50% improvisation. Polarity test of the button is important to avoid any room for error. Time to connect the rest of the components. The touchpad button, the PS button, the touchpad, and the charging port. And with all that done, finally the moment has arrived when everything works perfectly on the first try. USB plugged in, moment of truth. And of course, the mousepad button is stuck on always pressed, and the share button doesn't work at all. If everything worked on the first try, it wouldn't be a real project, right? Let's go fix these little details. Remember that the button polarity test is important to avoid any room for error. The problem with the share button? Wrong pin on the controller board. I switched to the correct pin and suddenly it remembered how to work. With both problems solved, the system finally started behaving like a real controller. Everything is installed on the bottom, PS button, and USB for charging the battery. Finally, it started to look less like a bunch of parts and more like something I'd actually like to hold. On the back, I added the gear shift levers, each with a magnet so they return by magnetic force. Yes, you can copy this one brilliant idea. The Moza Racing ES Formula steering wheel rim. Look at that, perfect fit. For the first time in my life, the universe said, yes, go ahead, you deserve this. And here's the mousepad's new home, a luxurious apartment compared to where it came from.
One of the main reasons for this project is to see it working via Bluetooth. And how great it is to have a Formula One steering wheel without dangling cables getting in the way.
Time to see if this project actually works. I fired up DS4 Windows to test the mouse, the light bar, and the vibration motors. Mousepad, working. Light bar, glowing. Vibration, very lively.
I opened the Windows Game Controller panel to test all the buttons and joysticks. Everything responded exactly as it should. No ghost inputs, no dead zones, just a fake controller doing very real work.
All right, moment of truth, and boom! The quick attachment gives a perfect professional look. Okay, time to set up the controls. And look at me, using a normal mouse, having literally built a steering wheel with a mouse attached. A stroke of genius. Truly a master of efficiency. Now the shifters, right side to downshift, left side to upshift, which is obviously backwards, but I just accept the chaos as a way of life. All set? Time to hit the track and see if this thing behaves like a steering wheel or like a suggestion. And here we go, with the steering wheel pointed to the moon. Perfect. No problem. I just need to center it mid-race like a true pro. Yeah, the gearbox is reversed. Basically, I'm driving an F1 car in mirror mode. Okay, gearbox repaired. I turned off the lights and... Okay, I definitely fell asleep at the beginning, and the guy behind me didn't.
Enjoyed this moment of me controlling this machine like Ayrton Senna at 10 years old driving a go-kart?
Yeah, it was a good race. Maybe one day I'll get close to the best.
Honestly, I'm still amazed that this works. I mean, it started as a fake controller and a questionable idea. But look at it now. Buttons clicking, gears working, joysticks behaving. The best part? Every piece here has a story. Some of them are even good stories. And look, if this doesn't prove that recycling technology can be fun, I don't know what will. This project had everything: bad solder joints, wrong pins, questionable decisions, and somehow it all came together. So yeah, what was trash to me is now a track-ready idea. Quite a transformation. If this steering wheel survives more than one race, I consider it a victory.
What am I? Thanks for watching, guys, and see you on next round.